This is in addition to my overall class introduction video. Having created all the structure for the class and almost all the videos and assignments at this point, looking back on it, everything I said in the first part certainly applies. A few extra things I want to tell you though. First of all, ask yourself, or perhaps you have asked yourself, why are you taking this class? Probably you're taking this class because it fulfills some kind of requirement, or perhaps it was suggested to you. Maybe you have an interest in web design. Maybe you want to go on to be a web designer, or many other reasons. But let me just mention to you that probably most of you won't go on to be web designers, and that's fine. You still can get great benefit from this class. One of the other reasons to take this class is that any out-of-the-box template-driven website solution like WordPress or any most social media sites actually that allow some customization, not so much Facebook, but many others, and many other websites that may involve you inputting information. All these things have access to customization. And many times you've seen that button sitting there that says HTML and maybe been afraid to push it, or pushed it and not been able to understand what it says. So if you do get a WordPress site and you want to customize it, or you have some other site that needs customization, having taken this course will give you the background that you need to understand what that website is doing for you, how to make it better, how to customize it for yourself. Also, should you maybe in the future use a website authoring tool, the big one is Dreamweaver, but there's many others. This class doesn't teach you how to use those. There's plenty of resources for that, but you will be able to use it so much better because you'll understand what it is trying to do, and then you'll be able to look at the code that it produces and improve it for yourself. Finally, let's imagine that you are going to go apply for a job where someone says you should have web design skills. Now, if they don't know anything about web design, yes, you can make a very fancy and pretty WordPress site without a whole lot of work using their templates or some other website creation tool like WordPress. And you can show it to them and they can be impressed. Fantastic. However, if they do know anything about HTML and CSS, if they do know anything about true website creation, they will look at your WordPress site, and as I would, and they would look at the source code, and they will see, hey, this is a WordPress site. It's pretty identifiable, actually. Or they would look at it at your source code and say, hey, they used Dreamweaver templates to create this. And that's pretty obvious, too. So the design may be yours to some degree, although you're basing it on templates, but it's obvious that the code was not handwritten like a professional would do. If you have your own resume site, for instance, or some other site that you've created by hand, you could also show them that. You could say, here is my WordPress site, and I'm responsible for the overall design, but also here is a site that was completely hand coding, showing the depth of my knowledge in HTML and CSS. So there's some more information about why you should take this class. A few other details. In the image creation portion of this site, of this class, which is only a little bit because this is not a graphics class, I use Pixlr, which is a free online image tool similar to Photoshop. However, if you do have Photoshop or some other tool that you prefer, you may try to do the same exercises. Just make sure you fulfill the same requirements. Also, I wanted to mention, if you are actually taking this class, if you're actually on campus while you're taking this online class during the summer, and you want access to the labs, for instance, the lab in Ward Hall, which has all these tools, email me and we'll set you up. But you don't need to be. You can do all this stuff on your own PC with Notepad++, which is the key tool, and with the image manipulating site Pixlr. And I'm going to ask you soon in other instructions, but I want to tell you right at the very beginning, you're going to need a resume. So do you already have a resume? Great. Find it, dust it off, update it, and get ready to update it a lot more, this is going to be a lot more than a regular resume. It's going to be much more like a portfolio, CV, with lots of detail, much more than one page. So start to add more information, more detail. So let's say you don't have a resume at all. Well, it's time to make one. You should have one. Anyway, this is not a resume. We're going to turn your resume into a web assignment project. But I'm not here to tell you how to write a resume, at least to start with. I'm going to ask you to add lots more stuff to it. But I would say there's plenty of online tools and online resources. If nothing else, get a basic resume created right now, even as you're just starting this class. And something else that was added since I did my other videos is I took a bunch of samples of the final projects, like you'll be creating, final projects from other students in past semesters, and put them online on Moodle near the top in that, or well, near the bottom of the general resource area, this sort of first non-week section of the website, which I've showed you in the previous video. I suggest you take a look through those even right away, so you start to get a feeling about where we're going, what sorts of things you should be planning, the sorts of things you might be putting into your resume. Now, those resumes on that site many are from journalism students or from public relations students. And I've noticed that a number of you are not journalism or public relations students, which is fine. You should not be at any disadvantage in this class. But the kinds of things you're going to say about yourself, the kinds of your major and how you describe it, and the maybe the internships that you might have had or not. You may not have student publications then, but you have other clubs and activities. So that part will be different because you're coming from a different major, for instance. That's fine. Don't worry about that. It's really not any disadvantage to not be a journalism student in this class. I will mention a few things about news, about journalistic ideas, but you don't have any other requirements like to cover news stories or anything. Finally, in each week, you're going to be coming up with more work on your resume. The resume, when I say resume, it's your final project. It's the big project. It's most of your grade. Don't wait until the end of the week in that video where it is at the end of the week to think about that. Go to it right away. Not so much the first week, but all the rest of the weeks. If you wait until Friday, the day that resume level is due, and only then look at the video, it's going to be an enormous burden. So I would say think about what is going to be due in the resume, which is the final project, the big project. What is going to be due in that every week, and stay on top of that at the same time that you're doing the other assignments, which are probably teaching you the skills you need to really complete that level of the resume. But if nothing else, you will get feedback from me on each level of resume that you do, and it's important that you respond to that quickly. By respond, I mean make the changes, make the corrections, make the additions, and not wait until the very end of the week to try to do that and add all the new stuff you're supposed to be adding. Okay, good luck, and let's get to the class.